We're tempting fate and calling upon Ishtar. That's right, it's the adventures of Conan from Gale Force 9. In this sword and sorcery strategy game, 2 to 4 players take on the role of epic characters from the classic tales and comics of Conan the Barbarian. Over a series of rounds, they'll traverse the kingdoms of Hyboria, unlock encounters, and take on various challenges. The player who accumulates the most victory points wins the game. Setup begins with the game board placed center. The board features the various kingdoms of the Hyborian Age, including the Savage Kingdoms in red, Port Kingdoms in blue, Military Kingdoms in green, Wealthy Kingdoms in purple, Eldritch Kingdoms in gray, and a Treacherous Kingdom in yellow. Each space on the board has a kingdom name, type, 2 in the case of the Terran, a unique ability, and attributes. The board also has a score track and 3 rows of achievements in the achievement track. Next, place the plot track along the side of the board and select a set of plot cards for your game. If this is your first game, choose Test of Skill. Place the plot cards in sequential order next to the plot track, and if a plot card says place 1 skip marker, set it on one of the spaces of the plot tracker. Shuffle the event deck and place it near the plot track. Shuffle the adventure deck. Set it face down near the board and reveal 3 adventure cards. If any of the revealed cards are in the same kingdom, redraw. Shuffle the encounter deck and reveal the top 3 cards nearby as well. Place 2 random God tokens per player face up near the board. We're setting up for a 4-player game, so we'll place all 8. With smaller player counts, return the remaining God tokens to the box. Each player now takes a character. Randomly assign 1 player to play Conan and deal a random foe character card to the player to their left. In a 3-player game, deal a random ally character card to the next player, and in a 4-player game, deal another random foe character card to the final player. Character cards have a name and some sick art, a starting kingdom and character ability, and 4 primary dice. They're also double-sided. Choose a side to start the game face up, though this may get flipped during play. In the first game, use the side marked with the sorcery symbol. If the second foe uses the same primary dice as the first foe, deal a new one instead. Each player then takes all the player markers of one color, setting 1 on the 1 space of the score track, 1 on each of the 3 achievement tracks, and 1 more near the first plot card. Their character's primary dice, 1 gold, their matching character token placed on their starting kingdom, and for all characters except Conan, a single challenge token. Finally, create a supply of additional dice for purchasing, gold tokens, face-down challenge tokens, give them a good mixing up, and set the fate tokens in sorted face-up stacks. Gameplay occurs in rounds, each divided into 4 phases: resource phase, main phase, triggered phases, and end-of-round phase. First up, in the resource phase, the players first reveal events by drawing and revealing the top card of the event deck. Read the card's name and place a random challenge token on the kingdoms listed. Don't place a token if the kingdom already has a face-down challenge token or a character token. Place a fate token on the kingdom listed as well, regardless if a token is already there. If Conan or a foe character is present, they immediately gain that token. The turn order indicator at the bottom of the card shows the new turn order for the round, either green for clockwise or red for counterclockwise. Event cards also have a plot bonus, which will come up shortly. Turn order is determined according to the event card. Next, players gain resources by assembling their dice pool and taking a single God token from the supply. This occurs in order of least victory points to most. A player can have at most 3 God tokens at once. Add a gold to any unchosen God tokens. Then, in turn order, each player may spend gold to purchase additional dice to add to their dice pool. Players can only purchase dice which match their role: Conan dice, ally dice, or foe dice. Conan pays 3 gold per die, the ally pays 2 gold per die, and foes pay 1 gold for their first die, 2 for their second, and 3 for any dice thereafter. Players add these dice to their dice pool and give them a roll. This is the first reset dice of the round, and it'll happen again. Anytime the game instructs players to reset the dice, they gather all the dice available to them, give them a roll, and place them next to their active side of their character card. The last step of the resource phase is advance the plot, where the characters, in turn order, attempt to match the result symbols on the plot card, including the bonus result symbol. Any character symbols rolled in this step are set to the spent dice side of the character card. If there are 3 or more character symbols, the player automatically fails that roll. Players set aside successful dice and roll 2 more times. If they succeed in matching the results, they gain the reward based on their roll and victory points equal to the chapter number on the plot card. Their player marker also moves 1 step forward on the plot track. Next, in the main phase, players reset their dice. Then, in turn order, they each take a single action from the following options: perform an action, unlock encounters, advance on the plot track, and pass. Play continues with each player taking an action until all players have passed. When taking an action, the active player moves a die from their active pool to their spent dice pool and takes the action with the die's shown symbol. Before or after spending that die, the player can spend 1 gold to roll the Kingdom die and gain the reward shown. Let's take a look at some of the actions based on the symbols. The character symbol. This allows the player to deploy a die. Deployed dice can be used to move, activate a kingdom, and more. These essentially act as a wild die, but the options available depend on the role of the player. We'll detail these actions as their symbols come up. The character symbol also allows a player to advance on the plot track. They select a number of active dice with their character symbol or wild symbols equal to the chapter number of the next spot on the plot track and move these dice to the spent pool. The player then moves their player marker to the next space on the plot track, scoring victory points equal to the chapter number they moved to, but no other rewards. The kingdom symbol allows a player to activate the kingdom effect of the kingdom occupied by their character, or in the allies' case by Conan, if they wish. Kingdoms have various effects. See page 32 of the rules for an elaborate table. The kingdom symbol can alternatively be used to pay tribute to the gods by spending 1 gold to take a god token from the supply, including any gold left on it. Move. This allows the player to move their character token, a challenge token, or a fate token. For character tokens, they move their character on the map to an adjacent kingdom. Allies may move Conan with this action, whether he wants them to or not. When moving out of the Eastern Desert and Hyperborea, they must spend 2 movement dice. Move also allows the player to move a face-down challenge token to an adjacent kingdom without one. If a character is there, the challenge is revealed. Only Conan can move fate tokens around the map to adjacent kingdoms. Players there gain the token. The pirate symbol allows the player to take the sail action or advance on the pirate track. Sailing allows the player to take their character token from a kingdom with the pirate symbol to another kingdom with the pirate symbol, regardless of adjacency. When advancing on the pirate track, this is available to only Conan or an ally, and they advance 1 space on that track, provided that Conan is in a kingdom with a pirate symbol. The scry symbol allows a player to peek at any challenge token on the board or in a player's possession, or they may peek at the top card of any deck. After looking, they may pay 1 gold to perform a movement action. The sorcery symbol allows the player to either draw a challenge token from the supply, keeping it secret, and then adding 1 token from their supply to any unoccupied kingdom without one, or they can cycle 1 encounter card. They discard 1 face up and draw 2 more from the deck, replacing with 1 and discarding the other. The trade symbol allows a player to trade a fate token from their supply with 1 in the general supply. Alternatively, Conan can use a trade symbol to cycle an adventure card. The thief symbol allows a player to either gain a gold or advance on the thief track, provided Conan is in a kingdom with the thief attribute. The warrior symbol allows a player to form a warrior pool if they are in a duel or a fight. More on those in a sec. Alternatively, Conan or allies can use the warrior symbol to advance on the warrior track if Conan is in a kingdom with the warrior attribute. In addition to their actions, the player can also use dice to unlock encounters, selecting a die from their pool that matches a symbol on one of the 4 open slots of the encounter track. At the end of the main phase, if a number of dice equal to the players in the game are on the track, Conan will have to face any encounter cards that correspond to his current location. Let's talk about fights real quick. They occur when a fight challenge token is revealed in a kingdom where a character is located. They can either take a wound immediately or attempt to overcome the challenge by creating a warrior pool of dice, warrior, character, or wild symbols from their active pool, then re-roll those dice to score a number of hits or wilds equal or exceeding the hits shown on the challenge token. They discard any non-warrior symbols to their inactive pool. If they succeed, they gain the victory points shown, otherwise they can re-roll successes to score more hits or remove more dice until they either win or exhaust their pool. If they lose, they suffer the 1 wound. Duels are similar but occur when characters occupy the same kingdom, depending on their role. Foes can even fight other foes. Conan and the ally never duel, however. In duels, the initiating player gains a local fate token and is known as the attacker. Their opponent is the defender. Both create their pools and compare roll results. Ties always go to Conan or the ally. It pays to have your name in the title. The winner gains 1 victory point for the difference between both players' hits, can move the opposing character to any adjacent kingdom, gains a face-up token on the opposing player's character card, and keep any warrior or wild symbols back into their action pool. The loser suffers a wound. When taking a wound, the player sets aside an active die for the rest of the round. If that's not possible, they remove one of their dice from the encounter track, and if that's not possible, a spent die is used. Once all players have passed, the main phase ends. Depending on the Conan character token's location at this point, he may have triggered a triggered phase, either an encounter phase or an adventure phase. The encounter phase occurs if unlocked during the main phase, and if Conan is present in a kingdom with the encounter's type or attribute. The dice used to unlock the encounters in the main phase affect how the encounter unfolds. For each foe die on the encounter track, Conan and an ally must each set aside one of their dice before rolling to try and defeat each encounter. They may set aside a die from their pool or from the encounter track. Each die a character has on the encounter track counts as an automatic success for that character toward completing the encounter if the symbol matches a required result. To resolve the encounter, players, in turn order starting with Conan, gather their active dice and roll them, match symbols, and determine success by including any dice from the encounter track. If they fail, all dice go to their spent pool and the next player gets to try. Otherwise, they gain rewards listed on the top left of the card. If a player completes an encounter, each player who failed to complete it before them suffers the penalties on the bottom right of the encounter card. The adventure phase occurs if Conan is in a kingdom with a matching revealed adventure card. If this phase doesn't occur, all foes advance on the plot track. In turn order, beginning with the player next to Conan, the players roll their dice pool, adding any of their dice from encounter unlock spaces to their available dice. Before the next player rolls, Conan chooses any successful results to keep and use for the adventure. Once all players have rolled, including Conan last, see if the adventure has been completed. If not, in turn order, each player applies all of their unchosen dice that can still be applied. Any player who is able to apply the final required result completes the adventure. They gain the card and a number of victory points for each of their dice applied to the adventure, as listed on the card. If after 2 complete attempts by all players, no one can complete the adventure, it is discarded and no player gains any rewards or victory points. Finally, in the end of round phase, players do the following in turn order. Gain the reward listed on one adventure card they hold. If their character token, or Conan in the case of an ally, is in the matching kingdom, Return any dice bought in the previous turn to the supply. Return fate tokens to the supply to advance on the corresponding achievement track if their character token, or Conan in the case of an ally, is in a kingdom with the corresponding attribute. Players may turn in one token to advance one space on that track, or turn in all tokens of the matching type to advance 2 spaces. Now it's time to start a new round. Some other important mechanics of the Adventures of Conan: the 3 achievement tracks, Pirate, Thief, and Warrior, each provide perks on various spaces when reached by the player. If they can reach the King Conan space, it will be worth 8 victory points. Fate tokens. These allow players to mitigate bad rolls by changing a die result to the one shown on the fate token. They are returned to the supply when used in this way. The end game is triggered at the end of a round in which a player has either advanced all 3 of their player markers to King Conan, reached the final space of the plot track, or reached the required number of victory points based on the player count. Players then add end-of-game victory points to their score tracker, and the player with the most points wins. And that's the basics of the Adventures of Conan. I'm Becca Scott, this is Good Time Society, and you, my friend, are a barbarian, so smash that like button, hit the subscribe, and come on back for more great games and good times. We'll see you later.